Hey guys, so I am here today with a friend, photographer, videographer, jack of all trades a little bit.
Master of none.
Master of none. Shaun Galang from Ceadermeade Studios, and Shaun's been flying drones for how long now?
I'm going on 7 years now.
Okay, all right.
So I got into it before anybody even realized what they were. And I didn't know what they were, but I saw it in B&H and I thought, that's a thing? Sign me up.
Right on.
And it wasn't this one, no, this was later on, but I started on the original Phantom.
Okay.
Phantom 1.
I've seen the Phantoms.
It was a crappy drone.
Now, did they have cameras or did you have to?
It had a camera, it had no gimbal.
Okay, no gimbal.
Not at all. So I shot it up thinking, I'm gonna get some great photos now. It was horrible, horrible. So no gimbal.
Man, that's tough. Well, I mean, I'm spoiled, you know, with the ones that I got, and we'll get into all that. So Shaun's been flying for about 7 years, and he actually took me out of my first flight about 3 years ago and kind of showed me the ropes a little bit, and just a lot of education, things that I had to learn along the way. And then I kind of, you know, I waited a few years until I got mine, and it's just, the whole purpose of this is we just want to let people know kind of what's involved, what to be leery of, just general knowledge, and know what you're kind of getting into.
Right,
so I guess we'll just kind of start there. And you know, just going and buying a drone is one thing, but if you want to do something with it, you know, you got to understand what you're getting into.
Right. There's a lot to consider.
So speaking of common sense type things, you know, what are some of the common sense items that people need to be aware of?
When they're about to get a drone, they need to be aware that the FAA has requirements, and one of the biggest requirements is to register your drone. And there is a weight limit, but folks can look that up, but FAA.gov.
Okay.
They actually have a drone section, and you register your drone, $5.
Cool.
And it has to be on the outside of the drone, visible. So that's the FAA registration.
Okay, so you actually have to put the sticker on your
has
drone.
to be just like your car.
Right.
You gotta
right.
have a registration sticker.
And
So,
that's regardless whether you're commercial
or hobbyist. There is a weight limit on the size of the drone that you need to register, but for the most part, they need to be registered.
Well,
with the
I guess
FAA.
I need to do that. I haven't done that yet. See, I'm learning stuff here too. And then I think, you know, we were talking earlier about community safety is a
Yes.
key thing. And by the way, people, I'll put links down in there for all the stuff that we're talking about, so you guys can easily access.
Yeah, the community safety guidelines, there is a difference nowadays between hobbyist guidelines and commercial regulations. They've grown together, but there still is a gap. But the biggest thing that hobbyists need to be aware of is the community safety guidelines. You know, is it safe to fly over a beach full of people? Is it safe to fly low over your neighbor's pool?
Right.
You know, stuff that should be common sense. Just think about what it is you're doing and where you're flying.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of common sense.
Yeah.
So we hit registration. We talked about no matter whether you're a hobbyist. Let's see. I'm going by my little notes here that we kind of went over a couple days ago. So commercial versus hobbyist, we did talk a little bit about that, but let's go another step. As I learned, as you told me, which I didn't even know when I first got mine, is that if you're going to do it commercially, you've actually got to be certified.
Yes.
So let's talk briefly about, you know, what's involved, and
Yeah.
is it something for you or is it not something for you?
So there's a lot of gray areas, and folks are going to interpret the regulations differently. But you know, obviously, when the FAA sets the regulations and guidelines, they have their intent. They have reasons for establishing these regulations. But the number one thing to think about, and the FAA.gov, I think it's called Drone Zone or something like that. But they have a flow chart, you know, that you can kind of answer. I'm going to be flying for this reason, okay? Next question. And I'm going to be flying here, next question. So, and it all has everything to do with the intent of your flight. Are you just going to go out and have some fun and maybe share some pictures with your family? Probably a hobbyist. Are you going to go out and shoot some sunsets and landscapes and put them on your site to sell them? That's commercial. You're actually making money from the use of your drone.
Okay.
So 2 different avenues.
Yeah.
And it has everything to do with the intent. What are you intending to do with the products that you're collecting from the drone? And if you are trying to make money with your drone, you need to carry a certification from the FAA.
And I guess that's kind of like, part of the things I do is graphic design. If I'm just sitting around and just drawing for myself, I don't need to have a business license. Now, if I actually start to do business and I'm selling my work, I need to be licensed. I've got to pay my fees every year for state corporation commission and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I guess as a kind of a comparison, one to the other, if you're going to be selling your stuff, you need to have the right certifications.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to get into conjecture or thoughts, but I did hear at one point, a lot of folks are thinking, well, why do I have to carry a license to fly a drone? Why do I have to go through all that mess? And it has everything to do, I think, with the way FAA had structured pilots from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Pilots are commercial pilots. They carry a license, and they are making money by being a pilot.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So the same rules, at least from the get-go. I mean, drone regulations have only been around for 5 years.
Okay.
Drones themselves have only been around for 6 or 7 years. So you see how quickly it's evolved.
Yeah.
But originally it was all under the guidelines of the FAA pilots, the established guidelines. So,
well, I think when they first came out and they were pretty pricey, and then as price started to come down and more people were getting them and flying them everywhere, they started realizing, okay, we need to start putting
catch up.
We got to start putting some rules to this stuff.
Got to catch up. Yeah. Now I say drones have been around. They've been around for decades, but commercial drones for consumers have only been around for a very small amount of time.
Right on. Well, that's cool. I mean, that's good stuff to know. And I'm actually taking studying for mine right now, and I found a really great source. So far, it's been good. I'm not all the way through it yet. It's called Pilot Institute, and I will put the link down there. It's pretty cool if you want to check it out. I mean, you pay for a course, but they basically help you study to get your, to take your test to get certified. Because I started going through the FAA.gov stuff, and it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
You can do it on your own. It's just a matter of what do you need to know and where is that information. It's nice to have it all concise and in a course, a structured course.
Absolutely, and so far it's been really good. So I will definitely put that link in there as well.
And for folks who are considering going into the commercial sector, it is a $150 testing fee.
Yes.
Every time you take it. So let's say you take it the first time, you fail. Oops. You have to pay $150 again to take it.
So you better know what you're doing before you take it that first time.
There's a 2-week waiting period between failing and taking it again.
Okay.
So
that's good to know. Yeah, he did mention that in the course so far. It was $150 to do it the first time. But is the renewal the same price?
Renewal is the same price, I think. And I'm up for it this year, so
Is it every 2 or is it every 3
2
years? Okay.
Registration for the drone lasts for 3 years.
Okay.
Your certification, your remote certification is 2 years.
Cool. All right. Okay. And you are basically getting a pilot certificate, which is, I mean, it's pretty intense, people. I'll tell you. My mind is spinning. So I'm learning a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of info.
It is a lot of info. All right. So let's talk about some fun stuff. Websites and apps are, what are some cool things to have?
There's a lot of resources out there on and I'll use my cheat sheet. One of the biggest things that as a pilot you're going to have to understand is weather. How weather affects the flight. When you should fly, when you shouldn't fly. Is it safe to fly? It's raining, it's thundering, that kind of thing. So Aero weather, and I'll share this with you and put it in the links. Aero weather is a pilot's weather app.
Okay.
And wind compass. It's nice to have an anemometer measuring wind speed. So if you have a physical anemometer, great. You can get precise readings where you are. But if not, wind Compass is a great app. Tells you the wind speed, tells you sunset, sunrise, daylight, twilight, gives
Nice.
you all that stuff. It's specific to pilots.
So I know, and we won't get too deep into this. Like I think yours is probably about the same as mine. He's got the first edition Mavic. I've got the Mavic 2. Is it under 18 miles an hour that you're somewhat safe to fly, or is that off base?
Oh, wind speed. I go under the guideline for myself, and it depends on the size of the drone.
Sure. Yeah, like I said, I mean,
the bigger the drone, the more stable it's going to be.
Right.
But these drones can easily at least hover and maintain in 25-mile-an-hour winds.
Really?
Sustained winds. Now,
Right.
gusting is a little different.
Sure.
But sustained winds at 25 miles an hour. Now, that's just hovering.
Right.
Like straight up, straight down.
Right.
If you're going to try to fly somewhere, good luck coming back.
Right.
If you're getting into a headwind. And I firsthand discovered that. I don't know how anecdotal you want to get, but I got stories. So
Well,
yeah,
maybe we'll save that for a part 2. You know.
but yeah, there's plenty of apps out there specific to pilots and specific to drone flying.
Yeah.
So the one that the FAA puts out is Before You Fly, B the number 4, You Fly.
Okay.
And you click on it, and its only purpose is to tell you whether or not you're safe to fly in terms of airports, which is the number one thing that you got to be concerned about
Sure.
when flying.
I mean, that's great. We hadn't talked about airports yet. I mean, that's
How close are you to an airport? If you're within 3 miles, you have to notify the air traffic controller
right.
that you're flying. You have to know what airspace you're in, so on and so forth. A lot of stuff.
And you just said 3 miles, and that kind of triggered another thing that I'll mention. I know we're throwing a bunch of stuff out here, and that's kind of what this is all about. We're just trying to get as much information out generally. I didn't realize that when you're flying in twilight or dark, that you've got to have anti-collision lights on your drone, which they don't give you when you first buy one.
Because
So,
yeah.
You had told me, because you had seen one of my pictures, and do you have anti-collision lights when you're flying? I'm like, no, what's that? So literally it just showed up just as we were sitting here getting ready and set up. So this is Lume Cube. It's an anti-collision light. I haven't mounted it yet, but it'll go right down on there. And it's viewable 360 degrees when you're flying twilight at night, which is a must when you're up there, so that...
Visible at 3 statute miles.
Right, and 3 miles. That's the 3 mile thing is what triggered my thought on this. So I haven't tried it out yet, but when I do, I'll do a little demo for you guys and show you how it works. But
Yeah.
pretty cool stuff, and not real expensive. I mean, this was like $50.
Considering the alternative of any kind of fines or what have you. Now,
Sure.
We talk about fine. I talk about fines. Is the FAA going to fine you and slap a fine on you? Probably not.
Right.
But why chance it?
Or even more severe, you don't have something on there, and another aircraft
Manned
is
aircraft
in the area,
hits it. Yep.
and bang,
Then you're in some deep doo-doo.
So you're talking about batteries.
Accessories, batteries, yeah. So most drones are going to come with, and this would be a good segue to go into like battery care and stuff.
Okay.
So, but yeah, most drones that you're going to buy are going to come with one battery, which these days is about half-hour flight. But I guarantee you're going to want to fly more than a half an hour. So they have combos that you can get extra batteries, or you can buy extra batteries. But I think batteries are one of the number one accessories.
Okay.
For more flight time.
Cool.
Have more fun.
Cool.
So.
And I guess just like regular cameras, like you were saying, you can get filters and...
Yeah, filters, and sometimes they make different props. I'm kind of hesitant about the props, changing them out for aftermarket.
Right,
If you start modifying these things with aftermarket products, they may or may not be endorsed by said manufacturer. And
Just like a car.
yeah,
You start adding different rims,
do it at your
wheels,
own
and you're
risk.
lowering it or whatever. I mean, all of a sudden the warranty goes out the window.
yeah, do it at your own risk.
Right.
I know one of the biggest fads for props is carbon fiber props. Great, they're lighter, they're quieter, but they may or may not throw off the balance. They're different. They're not manufactured by the drone manufacturer.
True.
So
True.
do it at your own risk. And if you ever get caught by a carbon fiber blade, you're gonna miss a finger or maybe even a hand. Those things are sharp.
Nice. Good to know.
Yeah. Carbon
Well,
fiber doesn't play around.
One of the little accessories that I picked up afterwards, because I started flying out here, this has kind of been my backyard and my spot where I've been practicing, and this is actually pretty cool. And I noticed that when I would set my drone in the grass, and you had said the camera most importantly, but I noticed the propellers were hitting the grass too, which you said isn't really that big of a deal. But again, for
landing pad,
a couple of bucks, you know, you get a landing pad. It's just like if you ever had one of those car shields for your window,
it'll pop out,
folds out the same way.
Right on.
Boom.
Yeah.
And you just drop that down on the ground and you're good to go.
So another added feature of this, you may or may not know, obviously it offers a flat landing space, safe for the drone and the camera. But a lot of the drones, specifically the Mavic, has this option of smart landing feature.
Okay.
So it has a precise landing feature, and it basically scans its launch position and matches it with its landing position, and if it matches, it will land precisely where it took off. Of course, if you're launching and landing in a field of grass, there's no idea.
It's gonna guess, yeah.
So you got a big orange target.
Right.
It serves a second purpose.
That's cool. That is a good second purpose. Nice. Yeah, I used it the other day and it worked out really good.
Very nice.
So let's talk. Let's get back to a little bit of detail stuff. Now you said that you have a pre-flight checklist that you like to use.
Yeah, and I have one in every one of my cases. And if anybody's ever flown on a small, like a two-seater, you've seen pilots do this. Even if you haven't, if you've flown commercial in a commercial airline, you've maybe experienced it where there's a big long hesitation and you're waiting. And most of the times they're doing a pre-flight. They're checking all systems. They're checking over this and that, and there's a very precise, regulated, and detailed order that they follow.
Okay.
That's so that they know everything's working properly, we're good to take off. And they do it with an actual checklist. It's not from memory. There's no shame in it. They get the book out, they follow the steps, and check everything off. And as a pilot, as a drone pilot, you should do the same. So
sure.
I have a basic pre-flight. It's in every one of my cases. And it goes over
That's awesome.
the basic stuff. Boom, 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 boom. Things that you need to check. Situational awareness.
Nice,
check your batteries. Check your props. Check your check your battery status.
Can you send this to me?
Absolutely.
Awesome. And I will definitely share it out there.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. And I maybe do about 5 of these things when I go to fly. Now again, I'm just starting off, but yeah, I mean, this is great. You know, it just gives you a nice.
And it gets you in the mode of repetition.
Sure.
Every time you fly, do the exact same thing.
Sure.
There have been studies done where, something as simple as like you've lost your car keys. You've lost your car keys because you disrupted your routine.
Right.
You put them somewhere different.
Yep.
You cut it off and did something different, so you lost your car keys. Can you imagine you do something different and you mess up a flight? So,
and I've done that on a couple of these. I forgot to remove the gimbal cover.
Yeah, something
and
simple.
I forgot to put my memory card in. So there's 2 right there.
Yeah, so have a pre-flight.
No, this is great. This is great. Thank you.
Even just a one sheet, take it with you, put it in your drone case, and you're good to go.
Well, this is good, man. And thanks for coming out.
Absolutely.
I think, is there any other little things that you might
there's so many different things. One thing that I do want to talk about a little bit is battery care, because these batteries, even though they are manufactured, and all these are DJI, there's plenty of manufacturers of drones out there, but
just to give you an idea of the size,
the number one,
that thing's huge.
the number one manufacturer these days, at least for consumers, is DJI. But anyway, I tell folks, I don't know if I've coined the term, but this is like the dynamite of batteries. So if you know anything about dynamite, it's kind of an unstable thing. And LiPo batteries, which these all are, lithium-ion polymer batteries,
Okay.
have all the potential of being incredibly unstable.
Great.
Yeah. But they're perfect. They're environmentally friendly. They're great for this kind of application. But at any given time, without any notice, they could become incredibly unstable and catch fire. So it's just something that you have to know
Sure.
that could happen.
Yeah. Now, I mean, what I have in mind is it the same as?
It's the same. It's the same technology.
Great.
Same technology.
It's good to know.
But what it is with batteries this size and batteries this, they have different cells. They have different numbers of cells in there. I think this one has 4 cells. The smaller ones have 3 cells within the battery itself. And
Well, that's like instant collision lights. You know, if you're up at night and that thing catches fire, look, mommy, a shooting star.
you can see it now.
Nope, that's my drone. Bye. It's on fire.
But no, so always be checking your batteries. There's battery care. There's entire sites dedicated to care of LiPo batteries.
Okay.
Just be aware that this isn't just your old standard battery you can walk into Target and Walmart and purchase.
Right.
It's a very specific and specialized battery that requires some different kind of care. So and these are smart batteries in the sense that DJI has built in smart features to keep them from being unstable.
Okay.
To mitigate that issue, that risk. But
It's a bit of a trade-off. Is it a stronger battery where it's got more, that does more than your regular lithiums and things like that?
it has a higher discharge rate.
Okay.
So, and we can get into specifics
yeah,
and
we
that kind of thing. But basically, it's the perfect application for a drone that needs that power.
Okay,
Fast.
that's kind of what I was. Okay, gotcha.
So,
but
but
the trade-off is that in order to make something like that, you know, it's.
But
it is
again,
what it is.
DJI has built in safety features to mitigate that risk, but
Sure.
ultimately, it still is a LiPo battery.
Sure.
So-
Cool. That's great information. I think we've pretty much covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and
we could have a part 2 and part 3. easily.
absolutely. You know, maybe we'll do another one where we get a little dive deeper into some
Yeah,
specifics. And but this is great. I mean, guys, I just want to let you all know that this isn't just something you go out, grab, start flying, and not have to think about some of these things.
Please don't.
And I thank you for coming out and your
Yeah,
time.
absolutely.
And guys, I'll put links down below for as much stuff as we talked about. And I think
All right.
that'll do it, man.
Let's get ready to fly. It's a great day.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
do some
get up
flying.
there. I'm all for that.